All right. So, welcome everyone to I Support Your Business, the Monday, August 28th version. I am Tom Graham, frame of mind, a matchmaker to self. And with me here today is Denise Belial, who is our
Hello.
host. Thank you for being here, Denise.
You're welcome.
And our new friend, Sanjay. And welcome, everybody. So, Sanjay, if you could get us started, give a little background about yourself, and create what's going on.
Great. Firstly, a pleasure meeting both of you. So, a bit of background. I'm basically a military brat. Father was in the army, and but that's not my profession. My profession is I'm a chartered accountant or like a CPA in the US. And the last 20 years, I've focused on working with startups, founders of businesses that want to take an idea and make their dent in the universe, to take it to whatever level that they can. So, as a startup mentor, I have had successes and people who've, not been as successful as they could. And there were lessons learned in both. With one of the businesses, we took it from an idea all the way to a listing, meaning an IPO and beyond, and saw the complete 360 degrees of the trials and tribulations of setting up, trying to get the right people on board, testing the ideas, etc., etc. This was done not only in India, but I was overseas for nearly 20 years. So the bunch of businesses set up in the UK, USA, UAE, and India. So the reason for me to be in the group here, ISYB, is to support the initiatives of the members in case they need to do anything with their businesses, mentor them, coach them, be a sounding board. There are many things we've tried. So that's my reason for, or rather, my passion for being alive these days.
Yeah, beautiful. And, it's so great because while you gave me just a little bit, I got this real sense that you are underselling what you've done. And
Yeah,
specifically, let me just say what I heard so far.
yeah,
You're trained in financial standards. And not only that, but you help businesses set up and leverage good practices, best practices. You've seen what works, you've seen what doesn't work, you know the difference. And
yeah,
that's the essence of where the coaching comes in.
absolutely. So I'll fill in one more blank.
Yeah.
So you may have heard of Pinkerton, the famous Pinkerton detective agency, right? Yes, who set up the FBI. So I opened up their office for them in Bangalore. So this was like one of those services of go to market, opened up their office here. And I was leading their accounting forensics team. So one of the things we do, or a skill that I carry, is doing investor due diligence or due diligence of ideas, but from an accounting forensics angle as opposed to the nicey bits that the lawyers do. So yeah, okay,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And if there's time, I want to get in deep. I want to go and ask other questions. But for now, that's really great. Um, so how you you in our conversations already, you talked about lean, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm trained in Lean Six Sigma and Design for Six Sigma, which where you do product development with the actual making and capability and all that designed into it.
Right.
How does that apply in the accounting world, or how does that work into your experience?
Okay, so I'm following what is called the lean startup method,
Yeah.
which is taking design thinking at the beginning. So if I interact with a client to support them, one of the first things we get into so we can have a common language is to learn design thinking and then get into what is the idea,
Yep.
uh, what so we do it scientifically, namely you just list what your idea should be as experiments. You think
Yep.
your idea can do this for those people and it solves those types of problems. Then getting into building it, which arrives at some kind of product or service. But we put the tests before you build. So we know you're building something which has to achieve something specific. And then you measure, and from the data, you keep learning and iterating. So, in simple terms, we're not just saying, hey, I have a gut feeling about this. The gut feeling is important, but then you go and test it with who's going to find your idea useful. So, some
Right.
of the frameworks one uses is, what's the jobs to be done? So, whatever you're doing, what is the exact job that this is supposed to be doing or problem it's supposed to be solving for you? You
Yeah.
know, so it
And
makes it simple, actually.
yeah, that's beautiful. And what I also heard is that you're evaluating things based on data. So
Yeah,
there's a technical right for success.
yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
beautiful. And then I'm just curious about the tools you use. So I'm a junkie on tools. So
Right.
like a C&E matrix is very powerful. And I'm assuming you use that to sort different product choices for customers and then develop a scaling or a ranking or say to, put data behind it and say this one's going to work. This one's our best shot. Only, yeah.
So if we look at mine's less complicated than that in the sense that you're an engineer and you're into the manufacturing side, and I get it, from 3M and all of that. So dealing with business people, my first thing is, does your target customer so the thing I use the Eisenhower matrix for time management.
Yep.
When you're interacting with a client, if it's not on the top left, which is urgent and important enough for them to take out their checkbook and write you a check, you still have somewhere to go. Because if the problem or solution you're providing is not solving something that's urgent and important enough to get paid for, then you have to just keep going back to the drawing board and find something that is going to be useful to your people. As far as tests go, so if it's a software company, then one would use A/B testing and other tools like that. Measure everything is the mantra. Just don't assume anything. Your assumptions only stand true before the first bullet is fired. It's like the Clausewitz saying, your plan is only as good as till the time your first bullet is fired. So keep testing, keep measuring, keep listening. So the three pillars on the coaching and mentoring side are, you know, always pay attention. So because we're in an attention deficit world, makes it even harder. Secondly, have self-awareness. So awareness of yourself and how that's being mirrored, particularly with a target client. So if they ain't enjoying your presence or your product or your service, just believe it, accept it, go back to the drawing board. It's not the end of the world. The more and more you do it. So
Beautiful.
So
yeah,
what I understand from that, I just want to interject, is that
Mhm.
it's not to be afraid to fail, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
being looking curiosity of how many different ways can I create this. Like if I'm
yeah.
trying this
Thomas
way
Edison.
and I see that the result is not what I expected, then what
Yeah,
else can I do? How else can I create this, in my business?
absolutely.
And because you've done so many supports, coaching so many companies, that you've seen a lot of failure, but you've seen a lot of success. So you're able to support them into raising the bar to reaching the next level in order for them to reach their own success after
Yeah.
many trial and error, because we know how it is in the business. You don't open the door and everything works, right?
Yeah, that's beautifully put. And so it's the Thomas Edison paradigm of, you didn't fail 1,000 times. You just found, 10,000 times that didn't actually achieve the result. But the important thing is, of course, you want success all the time. And this whole idea of extreme ownership of the problem means that some of the things I do is I'll get onboarded as an interim. So the roles I haven't done CTO, Tom, but other than CTO, CEO, COO, Chief Marketing Officer, Chief Risk Officer, done them all. And but my intent is not to be clingy about it. So I call it an interim gig. So come on board, set the systems in place, solve whatever problems are solvable, and basically shut down that which cannot be solved, and hire and train the replacement and back off, because I want to be a support. I don't want to be in your way. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I resonate with you, Sanjay. I hear the word catalyst.
Mm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautifully
So
put. That's one.
how does your company Omo10Ashi, how is it different than say your competition?
So the main thing is our attention. So attention, the fact that Omo10Ashi means that you treat everyone as if they're a valued member of your family. So you absolutely own their problem or solution. So one of the things we do is we do not take on every gig that comes along our way. So if there is something that I or the people I'm associated with cannot actually help you with, um, we'll say no, but we won't leave it at that. We'll try and find a man or woman who can actually help with it, but say that, hey, we can't do it, but someone else may be able to do it. So you're never at any risk, in that sense with us, uh, in terms of this. And, you know, that leads to the next thing. So how do we get clients? So far, it's been word of mouth, which has been most successful. Maybe LinkedIn, one or two people have become clients, but mostly word of mouth. People
Right.
love what we do. So yeah.
So I'm curious if you could just pull it back in the last few projects, what kind of industries have they been in?
Okay, so I think it's bragging rights time. So my um, last project actually reached the moon. So you've heard of India's moonshot with the
Oh,
Okay. So I was mentoring the founders in Lean 3S. Uh,
really?
so was helping them work on their systems, processes, etc., which were non-technical. All the technical bits, I mean, they're clever scientists and boffins, so they don't need me for that. But it was all the other stuff, how to work on people, because people are 80% of the problem or opportunity. What about the, supporting systems and stuff? So yeah, so that was one of those things to be smiling and happy about. Then
Well,
in other,
congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it was one of those moments that it reminded me of 1969. I was a little boy watching the black and white TV, and of course later we've seen JFK's speech as well. So very inspiring. But yeah, it's one of those moments when yeah. But other than that. I've taken a company all the way to an IPO. Uh, Started off as an executive director for HR and learning and development with them, then chief marketing officer. Then when the company went under, became the turnaround CEO, because I had a fantastic bunch of people. And I
Right.
always saw my job as it's called a servant leadership, if you like. I
Okay.
don't view the pyramid like this. Okay, that's what the org chart shows. But I see it as upside down, with me as the capstone underneath, having to support everything above and taking responsibility for all of it. So, what you said earlier, Denise, about not being afraid or ashamed to fail. I'm not, and I put it out there. If I make a mistake, I always say, "Hey, it's my bad," you know. So that encourages people to also, own up to whatever they have or haven't done.
Yeah, this is so good. I'm gonna coin you the piece of product development, the peacemaker of product development. Awesome. Um, so when we're getting, I just I get kind of emotional. This is so cool. It's nice to meet you for sure. I got to get that out there that I really appreciate you and all that
Likewise.
you've done and how you approach it. And you're really creating this space where there isn't anything wrong and anything is possible.
Mm. Yeah,
True.
yeah, I
And
appreciate that too.
that's very powerful. And the thing I was curious about, how or at what stage should people engage with this product peacemaker?
Okay, wonderful question. And I go back to the Eisenhower matrix. When their problem or opportunity has become urgent and important for them to look for someone like me, because there's no point taking a reluctant horse to water. They'll never drink, and it won't make them a duck either. So it's better, better for them to say, hey, I do have a need. I think I need to bounce this idea off someone else. And that was the whole point of joining up with ISYB, which was to mentor, coach, support, as a support function, not, as some guru sitting like Zeus on a Mount Olympus and, throwing thunderbolts of ideas down. No, no, no. It's
Yeah,
work with them. And if the need is there, then we huddle together, design thinking like that. Hey, let's examine this problem from all 10 sides and see what is the job to be done here, and then experiment, set up a bunch of experiments and put up a bunch of criteria for success. You know, what I've found with all the 109 startups is that where people really struggle is they haven't defined what their end point or their journey of success should look like. Whereas if I was to say, hey, I want to go and meet Tom and hang out with him in Minnesota, um, I have a clear mind map of that, right? So which airport do I land in? Then how do we drive down or whatever? Now, businesses are no different from that, but you'll be amazed at how many people are just not clear. They start doing something because they loved building something or they felt they were good at it. We saw this during COVID-19. Everyone became a chef, right? And everyone wanted a YouTube channel. But is that scalable? Can it actually become a business? And not every business has to be scalable. It's called a lifestyle business. For some people, hey, it's good enough to make a lifestyle, but then you don't need, necessarily a coach or mentor, etc. You're good enough in whatever you're doing. And we would engage and try and together identify that. And if it means we disengage at that point, great. You know, I've just taken you one step further in your journey, and that works beautifully for me as well. So
great.
yeah.
Well, just to put a capstone on it, you
Hmm.
would call Tom and you would say, I want to be picked up at Hector International Airport in Fargo, and I would come and get you and then bring you back and it'd be taken care of.
Hey, thanks for that invitation. And the reverse holds true. If you come down to Bangalore, we'll do
Oh,
it. Okay. Most welcome.
fair enough. So I want to open it up to Denise. Do
Yes,
you have a
I
thought?
have a very interesting question because
Mhm.
before we started recording, you were saying something really amazing about why is your company called Omo10Ashi. So I would like you to explain what does that means to you and why did you name it Omo10Ashi?
Okay, so this goes back to my college days in London. So I'm a London trained chartered accountant, And in our halls of residence, it was the YMCA we were staying at, there was Yoshi, a Japanese guy. And then we started learning Aikido, and he was explaining things about his culture. There were parallels between his culture and India, which is to do with attention and meditation and all of that. And Omo10Ashi, he explained, was one of the philosophies of treating people that you engage with as if they're your family. And he felt that I did that instinctively at age, 18 or 19. So that stuck with me. So when it was to choose a name for my business, I could have easily taken some Indian name or some Western name because I'm on the cusp of both cultures. But I chose this one because it really resonated with me. Plus, I really enjoy the Japanese concepts like kaizen, ikigai, all those other things, especially from manufacturing. I can see Tom nodding, which is about constant, continuous improvement. So, yeah. So it's all about that.
Oh, I get lit up. My word is kitsugi, and I'll tell that story later.
All right.
But I
Okay.
appreciate that because you were identifying to that name or to that word, years ago, and for you it came from your heart, like meaning that whomever I work with, I treat them as if they were my family. And I
Yeah.
think it's a very important aspect of a business if people that come and work with you, they feel like they're just talking to their brother or their father or their, whomever their sister, even if you don't have a skirt, but, like they're just talking, like they connected with you and they feel like you care and that you will listen to them. And with the quality that you enumerated at the beginning, like paying attention and being aware of what's going on and all that, like you would treat them just like you would treat family, which is awesome.
Thank you. And then I just want to add that uh, I really admire the US Navy SEALs, not only because of the military background, but there's a gentleman there, Commander Mark Devine, who was also CPA. And I've learned a lot of the extreme ownership vocabulary from what they do. And I brought it into our lives. I have a special needs boy, and I had to teach him how to swim. And I simply borrowed from YouTube videos of the US Navy SEALs doing their very extreme, swimming from that. So I bring that also in the coaching and mentoring
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
the founders that I work
Yeah.
with. One of the reasons for driving success is that discipline, of coming in. So you may have noticed I reach out sort of sometimes a day before, unfortunately, but I'm definitely on time, as
Yeah.
permanent, and those kind of habits, disciplines, never quitting, never giving up. I mean, literally, going after stuff. But then the Japanese side, the Omo10Ashi and the Kaizen, etc., means you must quit based on the data. So if your business idea is not good enough, you better quit on that and find a better one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all the time. Yeah.
There's honor in
That's
that.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, Sanjay, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure to get to know you, and I really look forward to your business prospering and all these beautiful connections being made. And how can people reach you?
So they can go to my website, and also my email ID is a very simple one. It's Zen @, omotanashi.com. In fact, I'll just type it in here. Zen, and Omotanashi has a 10, just to make it easier.
Yeah.
All
So when the videos go up, we'll put that in the comment section.
sure. So that'll be fine. That'll be great. And hey, really good to meet you too, and
Yeah.
especially, you know, and look forward to,
Everybody's frozen for a second.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
awesome. Well, I'm going to stop the
Wonderful.
streaming here. Anything else?
Thank you
you
so
want to say?
much. Sanji.
Thank you, Denise, for being a wonderful host. And thank you, Tom, for all those questions. And I have no doubt both of us are
Hmm.
gonna just get lit up with all those stories on lean manufacturing and you with your 3M and so on and so forth. I'd love to hear that. I'm a lifelong learner, so that'd be really good to